I'd like to call the Public Department of Public Works to order. Dwight Fanton and I chair this committee. And would you please join me in a pledge to the flag?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Fanton,
Here.
Mr. Demick, Mr. Barnes,
Present.
Mr. Curran,
Here.
Mr. Seer,
Here.
Mr. Healy,
Here.
Mr. Rumfelt,
Here.
Mr. Stockin. 6 present, 1 absent.
I need a motion for approval of the minutes for March 2nd.
Rumfelt motion.
Moved by Mr. Rumfeld.
Curran second.
By Mr. Barnes. Any additions or corrections? Being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is carried. March 18th. A motion on those minutes,
Curran moves.
seconded by Phil. Moved by Phil, seconded by Mike. Additions or corrections? Being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The same. Okay, Justin Henry for Highway.
Good afternoon. I wanted to start today's committee with just an overview of the Plan 2022 construction projects for this year. I did hand out a map showing the areas that we're discussing for these projects. They are still tentative. They've been they will be contingent on, the bridge projects have been approved, but the highway projects are tentative on the CHIPS money that we received for the year, which we haven't gotten a firm number yet. But it's looking promising that we'll be able to complete all these projects. As we discussed in previous committees this year, we're looking at doing a project in the town of Ward for local bridge 2503. We're looking at doing a town bridge in the town of Hume. We're looking to do a local culvert, county culvert in the town of Angelica. A county-owned bridge in Birdsville. And another county-owned culvert in the town of Belfast. The other highway projects that we're looking at this year include overlay projects for County Route 5, 5A, 5C, County Route 8, County Route 13, 13B, 13A, and County Route 14. Also, we're looking to do a mill and fill for County Route 28. The total for the overlays comes out to be roughly 27 miles of overlay planned for this year. Also, along with that work, we're looking to do a cold in place recycling on County Route 5, County Route 13C, the remaining portion of 15-1 that has yet to be completed to date. I'm sorry, of County Route 15, not 1. Doing a cold in place recycle, followed by an oil and stone on County Route 27B. And cold in place recycle, followed by a oil and stone treatment on County Route 43. Total cold in place recycling planned work is roughly 18.5 miles worth of work this year. For oil and stone or chip seal, we're looking at doing County Route 11, County Route 2B, County Route 19, and along with County Route 27B and County Route 43 mentioned earlier for the cold in place recycling, that'd be a total of 20 miles worth of chip seal. And then we are looking to continue the crack seal program that we started 2 years ago, and we have 32 miles that we're looking to get crack sealed this year. On the map, we try to color code the different functions and just kind of paints a picture of the multiple areas throughout the county where we're looking at working this year.
Anybody have any questions on this? Okay, thank you, Justin.
DPW is seeking requesting permission to hire summer help for the 2022 season.
Could I get a motion on that?
I'll make
Moved by Mr. Barnes, seconded by Mr. Healy. Discussion?
Maybe, Justin, you'd like to comment on that, how that allows us to free up our regular labor force during peak times?
Yes, it's a very useful tool that DPW has used throughout the years. The ability to hire these seasonal employees on a temporary basis benefits the department in the sense that we have a substantial increase to work demand during the summer season that minimally skilled laborers are able to help with. So this affords us that opportunity to handle that increase in demand without hiring full-time employees. It also is a benefit to the community because this opportunity is given to local individuals and local citizens.
Okay, thank you. So everybody benefits, the county benefits, taxpayers benefit, and students benefit. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is carried.
DPW is requesting to fill a heavy equipment mechanic.
I have a motion on that. Motion by Mr. Healy,
Second?
second by Mr. Curran. Discussion.
This, let's see, this is the usual. Will you have any additional positions?
Yeah, this existing position and the opening is due to retirement.
All right. And it's been signed off by, as required by our policy, by acting department head at the time, county administrator, and the personnel officer, is correct?
Correct.
Anyone else? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is carried.
This year, DPW performed its yearly material and in-place bids. We did this year break it out into 3 different bid openings, which was actually a positive result, so I try and do it all in the same day. But the following attachments are the results of those bids. DPW is requesting permission to award these bids.
Could I get a motion on that?
Curran moves.
Moved by Mr. Healy, seconded by Mr. Curran. Discussion? All those in favor? Oh, okay. Mr. Barnes.
690 edge line miles. That's both sides of the road.
Yep, that's your white line, yeah.
So you're talking about 345 miles of road, both sides.
Correct, that's the county mileage, yeah.
And what do they use to?
A multitude. The first line of equipment is the equipment used to clean the road surface itself before. And then that's followed by your typical traffic safety device and equipment and a paint truck that got to travel at a slow speed and then applies the water-based paint.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is carried.
DPW is requesting a resolution to create a new capital project for the Belfast County Route 26 bridge over the Genesee River. This would afford, I'm sorry. That's all we're requesting. The next one's
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion on that.
Motion moved by Mr. Seer. Second by Mr. Curran. Discussion. This is the one we were fortunate enough to get the $8.6 million to
correct.
to do a complete rehab on that County Route 26 bridge.
Complete replacement, yep.
or complete replacement, yep.
And this is moved to the top of our priority list.
Yeah, this is setting up the capital. The next resolution is actually permission to enter into the contract with the state for the state-local agreement, which is the first step. Once we have the state-local agreement, that's when we really can start the design process. We can't spend money until the agreement's in place.
Anyone else? Terry?
Yes, I just have one comment. This MOE is to actually create and budget a portion of this project for the new capital for Belfast. It's also to approve the federal local project agreement, and it also includes to authorize the chairman to execute the project agreement. So it really encompasses all three of those things, and it budgets for the first phase of this, the design, I believe. Yes, design work in the right of way. So it's only part of it, but it does encompass those other things, which approves the contract and authorizes the chairman to sign.
Thank you, Terry.
You're welcome.
Absolutely right, and that's my apologies for that. There were some last minute changes and I did not catch everything. But yes, this request is to not only create the capital, but to approve the funding and the amounts required to enter into the state and local agreement.
And Legislator Fan, I wanted to follow up on Legislator Healy's comment about this being a priority project. I believe although it is a very large priority, this project will not be completed for some time, and there will be other projects completed ahead of that. That is due to the time needed to actually do the engineering, design the project, bid it, and construct it. So, Justin, do you know what the tentative timeline would be to replace that bridge?
So the work beforehand, that before even the state and local agreement comes out, is the county worked with New York State DOT to create an initial project proposal. That kind of lays out the tentative schedule and what we're looking at. So as it currently stands at the beginning of this process where we have it's scheduled for the final design to be complete and be able to go out to bid by the fall of 2023, which would afford the construction to begin at that time if possible, but we have it scheduled and ending it by the end of 2024.
Well, obviously, those are all requirements that we have to adhere to, but still
Yeah,
top priority for us. And hopefully it's a better bridge than the last one that we built there, so.
It should be a good one. It will be a good one. And I would like to point out the schedule is quite aggressive. Looking at typical projects like this with state and federal money, to have a 2-year change around is real quick.
Anybody? Yeah, Mr. Barnes?
I just want to ask, would you just speak up just a little bit? You trail off
Yep.
sometimes and I can't, you start off loud and clear and then all of a sudden you trail off and I can hardly hear you.
I'm not usually told that I'm too quiet, but I'll do my best.
Okay, Mr. Healy?
This came up at the Fire Advisory Board meeting 2 weeks ago there, and the question is, if closed means closed to all traffic, is that correct?
Correct. Closed means closed to all traffic.
Yeah, and I did talk with Tom, our engineer, this morning, and that end wall is even moving more and more, so it's really a good thing that nobody's using that
Yeah,
thing.
it's closed due to safety concerns, and that's why the county has closed it. And I should stress, it's not just traffic, it's foot traffic or.
Right, pedestrian traffic.
Horses, whatever you would like, can't use the bridge.
And the county has not and will not authorize anyone to use it, foot traffic, vehicle traffic, or otherwise.
Well, that seemed to be the question at the Fire Advisory Board meeting, was about foot traffic.
Yeah, it's not feasible. That would require an engineer certifying that it's safe for use, and it's not, so.
I don't think we want to go there. Do we?
Anyone else? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is carried.
Legislator Fan, as long as we're still on highway, I know you just finished off the last one there, could we go back to the request to fill heavy equipment mechanic And make sure Mr. Henry didn't want that request to also include subsequent backfills within the department. So if we move someone up, we can then backfill that position and also advertise
Yeah,
that
that-
outside.
Is that part of
I
your
did
motion?
I did not read that portion. That was the intent of that request.
What, I believe that was my question, and that was my intention when I moved it, Mr. Chairman.
I just wanted to clarify, because I think we went on to a different topic very quickly, so thank you.
Usually I make that statement. I did not. But that our intent is to utilize outside positions if needed. Or to fill all subsequent.
Do we need to amend that, or?
I think if you've clarified that, that's all HR will need for the records. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Soil borings?
Yes. Public Works requests a budget adjustment for the funds to cover the cost of soil boring for the local bridge 0807, which is the County Route 26 bridge over the Genesee River that we discussed previously. The reason for this separate adjustment is this work was done before the state and local agreement was in place, so this is not covered by the Fed state money. This action was actually taken well before we known we were receiving any funding, so this was our initial assessment back earlier this year.
Somebody want to move that?
Rumfeld will move it.
I'm sorry? Rumsfeld moves it. Mr. Seer seconds it. Discussion? Ask Terry.
There is one correction that I apologize because I helped Justin do this, but under the county share, it says 20%, and that should not be 20%. It's the full cost.
Full cost, okay. Yeah, and Justin, they did find some problems with it when they did the coring, correct?
Yeah, there was issues dealing with a slip plane and clay deposits that were, I'd say confirmed over found, but yes.
That bridge was built in '74, right after the flood, so there were some work done that may not have been acceptable today, so
Right.
that's the reason that we're gonna need to replace it.
And it's worth pointing out that the reason this design process takes the time it does and we can't crank out this bridge project is so that we don't run into issues like that where you're rushed and building something after a flood that maybe didn't go through the whole process.
Anybody else? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is carried.
I would like to bring up two items that actually came out of the committee of the whole previous to this DPW committee, to get approval from the Public Works Committee. The first being that the Department of Public Works is requesting a resolution be prepared approving the Department of Public Works Friendship Shop project and authorizing the project to go out to bid.
Could I have a motion on this?
Curran moves.
Mr. Curran moves, Mr. Barnes seconds. Discussion. Yes, Mr. Ricky.
Yeah, back to our committee of the whole and that fire pump. The health director I know, and I know your engineer knows that that's not an option. It's
Well-
not an option at all.
Yeah,
Not the way the pipes are in the ground, so I'd like it to see two things. I'd like to see it bid with doing what you need to do to bring the piping up. Plus, we didn't get a real number on the phone system either.
The bid, so the pipe that, so what is being discussed is the fact that we had a flow test, and typically when you don't meet a flow test, your option is to put in a fire pump. What that does is boost up the pressure so the fire suppression system can be utilized to the full extent. The county is using that pump as a reference to compare cost to upgrading the pipe coming off the main trunk for the Friendship Water Department. We've been in talks with them. The cost is not, the cost is associated in the cost estimate currently for both operations, the material to buy the 8-inch pipe and the fire. We doubled it on there as a contingency aspect. So the cost, we know what the linear feet, we know we're doing 8-inch pipe, we know what connections we have in between, and we know that.
This is something we can discuss off the,
The cost is
thank you for
associated
thank you
with
for
it.
bringing it up, Mr. Ricky.
Just didn't want it going to bid, because if it costs more for the pipe than the pump, we need to know what our bid is. And same with the phone system. We
I
didn't have
think,
a-
The phone system, much like the internet connection for they called it the black wire, black comms, all that is being worked through with IT. It's not, and it's not something we're asking a contractor to bid on. We're asking IT to investigate what our options are. And for the water line, that is in-house. By in-house, the county and the town forces doing that with just the material pipe cost.
I think, Legislator Finn, I think in the committee of the whole, I sense that almost unanimously the board supported this project moving forward. But I did hear a lot of questions about things to look into, to include in the bid. So I think this committee needs to either move this on for referral for a resolution, or you could table it till next month so that Mr. Henry could respond to some of those questions that were raised this morning. I think those are probably the two options.
Yeah, everything that I heard today, minus what I'm waiting for from IT, we have the answer. It's a matter of just getting that around. We're talking, a day or two.
Yeah, Mr. Healy.
Can we just move this ahead for now and let them clean it up by the time we get the resolutions done? And we'll have to go to the Ways and Means too.
Well, that's what we're kind of discussing at the back of this table. We're not sure if it goes to Ways and Means or not, because he's not actually expending any money. He's just putting it out to bid. So I think probably the county attorney would want some time to look at that and talk to the clerk of the board and go over the board rules before.
Well, we got time to clean all that up regardless. Is that county attorney's opinion too?
The bid specs actually should be to you today. We are currently cleaning up the ad alternates, but all the bonding and the legal aspect is in there.
So we do have a small window of time in which that if you want to make some changes to will be included in the bid specifications, you can if you decide to vote and proceed forward. If you want to give this another month before you go out to bid, you can take a vote, you can call to table this resolution for another month so you can further discuss what you'd like to do with the bid specifications, then do this process and have the resolution come through during the May committee and board cycle. And that would give you more time to go through the specific details of what you would like, because unless Justin is asking for funding for this, we don't have the opportunity to take this through the Ways and Means process and have additional conversation and discussion about it.
Yeah, the following MOE,
And the resolution would also come next week before you at the board meeting, or if not next week at least. So we're in a very, very narrow window here to get things done and make decisions that you may be ready to go forward, but you may still want to discuss more, especially after you go home this evening and think about what you were presented today.
So, by getting my sense from the back table, they think we ought to table it? Is that from the?
I would recommend that you table it, and not out of lack of support for the project, but just give you time to go back and get more information and allow Justin to respond to it. And I think, as Allison pointed out, the turnaround time without going to Ways and Means is a very short window of a week, maybe.
Or we could have a special public works meeting. We need
Yes,
to
you can always have a special public works meeting. The clerk of the board could arrange that, too.
Well, I'll table it, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Mr. Healy to table. Can I have a second? Second by Mr. Curran. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is carried.
On that topic, I just want to have a discussion of how this information outside of what we gathered today that the board is looking for, how that is getting to DPW to be able to answer. We did take all the questions today. In fact, we've already worked out how to get the answers. If anything else comes up, what is the mechanism for DPW to become aware of that?
So those that do have something they want to talk to Justin about, you want to have a meeting? Well, we could do it before next Wednesday's meeting, like in the morning.
Just to shore up, to make sure that DPW understands.
So Brenda, if you would schedule, let's say 10 o'clock next Wednesday.
What is she scheduling, I think is the question. Is that a request for a special public works meeting? Or a committee of the whole?
Do you want a committee of the whole again?
Well, I think you just asked her to schedule a meeting. I think she needs to know, is it something she needs to schedule, what type of
Well,
meeting it is?
let's do committee of the whole because some of the questions been raised, they're not on the committee, so
Right.
we'll do a committee of the whole next Wednesday.
And why don't we have people direct any questions to myself and or Justin? We can get our heads together around things and make sure that there's a good plan in place for next week to respond to.
I'm confident we don't have the
Okay, moving on.
I'll leave the next one on committee of the whole, I guess. The intent of the next MOE was just to get a referral to ways and means to explore funding options.
I would actually recommend you move that forward so that Ways and Means could direct your budget officers to explore all the different options of funding so we can present some options to Ways and Means. I can see that the Ways and Means chair is like waving his hand. He doesn't have a battery or something over there. He can't talk.
No, Mr. Henry's mic is off. That's all it is. Thank you.
All right.
Can I
So-
just clarify what time is our committee meeting? Our committee of the whole meeting next Wednesday, 10, did you
10.
say? 10, okay. Thank you.
I'll make a motion on that.
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. Brenda, could you do that, please? Thank you.
All right, that was a motion for the meeting being set up. DPW is requesting a referral to Ways and Means to explore the funding for the proposed DPW Friendship Shop project.
Okay.
Is that what we did? Yeah. I thought it was setting the meeting up, I'm sorry. Okay,
I was
We
thinking
good?
we wanted that one to go forward, Carissa.
yeah.
Yes, I thought that's what we just considered. I'm sorry if I
Yeah.
confused that.
Yeah, so they could be working on it.
I think I'm misunderstanding. I thought when you said go forward, you meant move it forward to Ways and Means.
Just to clarify, DPW is requesting that a committee of a whole meeting be scheduled for next Wednesday. I don't. Is
Yeah, we
that
got
authorized?
that.
That's authorized. DPW is requesting a referral be made to Ways and Means to explore the funding. And,
After that meeting? Or today?
oh, no, just in June.
I think that's what you've already voted on that.
Already voted on it, you're all set.
Okay.
It's going to wait. It's going to wait, yes.
The second,
Funding is going to the Ways and Means.
the second MOE on the funding plan.
So we're good?
You're good.
Okay. Oh, yeah, Mrs. Birding.
I'm not trying to raise a problem, but it seems to me like we're doing things backwards. Shouldn't we have known how we were gonna fund this before we did an MOE and all this other stuff? Shouldn't we know the funding prior to that?
I think deferring.
I think, and I can let the treasurer chime in if she's got a better answer or a different answer, but we have several different mechanisms to fund things depending on the size of the project. And we really didn't know until the past couple of days how much funding Mr. Henry would need. And I think that number might even change a little bit depending on some of these add-ons. So we didn't really know what the target number is. I am fairly confident we have funding available from one method or another. It's just a matter of how much do we need and what are your choices, which Terry and I can lay out. And I don't know if Terry, you had anything else on that.
I really don't have anything to add. I think it'll be up to the board if you want to use the methods we present, one of them being the ARP money, one of them being cash on hand, one of them going to the market. So I think those are three options that you'll have that we'll present in some way, whether you want to use one of them or you have an idea of yourself. But those are the three that we plan on offering to you.
And probably in past years, I'm guessing your funds were much more limited and you were probably concerned on whether you could find the funds before you looked at the size of the project. We're in a little bit better position this year, fortunately, to look at the size of the project first and then see what our choices are.
Yeah, we really didn't know what the projected cost could be until today, so.
Right, this is the tightest number. I mean, when we first started the conversation, we had initial estimates with what we were originally looking at, but this is the closest to actual bid numbers that we're gonna get, in taking into account the conversation coming out of the committee as a whole and some changes and clarification we need to make, but we'll have that.
Okay, let's move on to solid waste.
DPW is requesting to award the recycling container bid.
We have a motion. Moved by Mr. Healy,
Curran seconds?
second by Mr. Kern. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is carried.
DPW is requesting to award the recycling commodities bids.
Have a motion on that, please.
I'll make a motion on that.
Moved by Mr. Seer,
I'll second it.
second by Mr. Rumsfeld. Discussion on this. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is carried.
DPW is happy to hand over the mic to the county attorney for the next one.
Good afternoon. So in February, this board approved by resolution the leachate agreements with the town of Canadian Friendship and the village of Wellsville. They were sent out for signature. However, they accidentally did not contain any language regarding our insurance requirements. So I'm asking for the board to approve corrections today so that we can include language for our insurance requirements and then we can resend out the agreements for signature. We do not need to do another resolution. I just need approval from the board for the corrections as I requested.
Okay, can I get a motion on that?
I'll make a motion to make the corrections on that.
Mr. Seer moves it. Mr. Healy seconds. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes all the business DPW had to bring in front of the committee. We have no updates for the building and grounds.
Any old business? New business? Good of the order? Yes, Mrs. Root.
I'm not on this committee, but I'd like to just follow back with a conversation about the ways of funding and the three ways of funding. Is there a fourth possibility of a hybrid method of maybe a little bit of all of those? And if we're going to have a discussion on how this is going to be funded, and I don't know if this goes to the budget or the Ways and Means, do we not also need to know if we fund it with ARP monies, how that impacts the rest of our ARP monies and what projects won't get funded through the ARP, which is a larger conversation that I think we need to have the full picture before we can make some of these decisions. And I'm just saying, I just think it's a bigger, broader issue that we need to discuss.
I think Terry and I, just after we answered the last question, said there's probably a fourth way of doing a hybrid that we should present as well. So that one's an easy answer. And the second one, I think we can also tell you what the impact of using each of those methods would have on other projects too.
Are you going to have that information for the committee of the whole next week?
Probably not.
Okay. Good of the order? Looking for a motion for adjournment?
Mr. Chairman, another business to appear to come before the Public Works Committee and make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Seer. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried.